supertalktv.org. And today we hope you go to supertalktv.com. You'll see we got a full house today celebrating this Ash Wednesday. And I love when a topic merges with, I know it's not a national day. Ash Wednesday is more of a religious holiday. But but the meaning of our guests and what they do every day with their jewelry meshes very well with the significance of Ash Wednesday. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so I have with me Miss Sherri and Miss Mary Linley. They are with Bijou. I got it right. Bijou Jewelry, which has a range of gemstones that are mentioned in the Bible, and their jewelry holds biblical significance. So I find this absolutely fascinating. Okay, Sherri, this sadly starts with your journey. You were first a nurse administrator, and then life threw you a curveball where you wound it up and found yourself in the jewelry business. So share with us maybe what life was like before you found your jewelry making.
I was a nurse administrator. I got married at the ripe old age of 43, and 4 weeks later we had a head-on collision.
Oh, no.
And I had a traumatic brain injury and lots of physical illnesses, problems. And then so my memory started getting worse. I loved my job, but the more I did it, the more my neurologist said, I'm sorry, you need to not work any longer. For some reason, they like nurses to remember things.
That would be a good part of the job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so as I was at home, I found myself finding things to do, like I started painting, of course, abstract, because I can't paint anything else, abstracts. And then I started playing with jewelry and just kind of found something that spoke to me. I like wearing jewelry. I like giving jewelry away. So that's where all of that started.
So where did the actual sort of biblical significance come in? Because I know the gemstones that you use in Bijou, Bijou, which has a significant meaning as well. Each one, I mean, they speak to or been mentioned in the Bible, and they hold great meaning. So did you find yourself, Sherri, just being gravitated back towards the same stones over and over?
Absolutely. It was, I was absolutely led. It kind of honed in. I was doing a lot of different things, and then it just kind of naturally honed in to those gemstones that are mentioned in the Bible, both in Revelation, where they talk about the 12 foundation stones of the New Jerusalem. Also in Exodus, they talk about the 12 stones in the priestly breastplate. And so I was drawn to those stones. I use a lot of other stones because God made some incredible stones to use. And so what we use is just, it's easy because it's God's handiwork, and it's just right there.
And if it made all the drafts to wind up in the Bible, it might.
Exactly.
It must have some sort of significance.
Speaking of all the drafts in the Bible, there are so many translations that sometimes the meaning in one Bible, it just means a blue stone. In another Bible, they've translated it to sapphire or lapis lazuli. So that's been interesting to see that through the different translations.
So obviously this is a partnership. Sherri, you started this Bijou after your car wreck. Well, you didn't actually start that particular named business, but you and Mary Linley, you connected. When did you two connect? Is business, or were you friends first or business partners?
So we have actually known each other for more than a decade. Her grandson is married to my sister. So we...
Very Mississippi connection.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. They met in high school and just never left each other. So we have been in each other's lives for years. And she has always liked things that sparkled and glittered. I have always liked things that sparkled and glittered. I knew she made jewelry. She'd come to Christmas and I'd say, "Where'd you get that? It's beautiful." And she'd say, "Oh, I made it." I was finished. She was selling a little bit here and there under a different name, not really, just kind of making things that she liked. And she approached me. I just finished my undergrad degree, and she said, "When you get back from vacation, let's sit down and talk." And we did, and we realized we both have a passion for this. I have a marketing and business degree, that background. She knew all the stones. Let's put our heads together and let's do something. So unfortunately, that was right as the world was coming to a halt with COVID.
That's a great time to start a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So we spent that first year. We've always said we thank God for it, because it let us really delve into what we wanted to do. And we kept finding that the more jewelry we made, our heart was in the stones that had significance, learning things like the stones. Most scholars believe the stones that the Ten Commandments were written on was lapis lazuli, and I can wear a pair of earrings that have lapis
What color is
in
that?
It's blue.
Oh, it's gorgeous blue.
These are lapis. So those have lapis in them. This blue bracelet is also lapis.
Gorgeous.
I know. And blue is both of our favorite colors. So if you see on our website, we call it Bijou blue. We've coined it. It's a particular dark kind of navy blue. So you'll see lots of blue pieces. But that's kind of how we came together. And we really, since then, we have honed in. We chose the name Bijou. So many people say, oh, why Bijou Designs? Bijou is a French word that means elegant, handmade, and highly praised. And that's what we wanted to focus on, is biblically inspired, prayerfully made, individual, unique items that are quality and have significance. And that same peace and joy that we get making the pieces, we want the people who wear our jewelry to feel that and be able to feel like, oh wow, like this is lapis, this is the stones that the Ten Commandments were on, or this is onyx, this is featured in the high priest's breastplate when he would go and pray before the Lord. Different things like that, or pearls for the pearly gates, or significance of the number 3, the number 7, gold for the streets of gold. Like, just all those ways we could really connect and put joy and peace and fun into the jewelry we make.
You can definitely tell you ladies are excited about your business, and it's one thing to have this dream and this sort of vision. We all have them. It's another thing to walk them out, and then it's another level to it when folks start buying it.
Absolutely.
And it's like, okay, folks really are enjoying it. So what was it like those first few sales? Did you feel like you really had to, educate people, or was it kind of a natural fit? People were just drawn to it?
I think people were drawn to it, but I was so excited about it. I had to explain it, and I got to tell the story about all the pieces. And so those first few sales, and even now as we sell things, I know if it's in person, I may overshare because I want to tell the whole story, where it came from and how I came up with the idea, or how the idea just sprouted. It's just... it's been a pleasure to be able to do that. A blessing.
I think the first time, our first few shows, family, friends of friends, the first time somebody contacted us and said, I would like to host a trunk show. They weren't related to me, and I didn't know who they were. I was like, what? Is it? Because I knew that our stuff is great, and I believed in it, but knowing somebody else believes in it as well, it just gives you that peace and awe, like, wow, you're doing something right. So hosting a show for someone we didn't know and having all of their friends and people come in and being like, Sherri, we don't know the person who bought this. Like, it's a real sale.
Right.
It's not just my mama.
Right, exactly. Not one of her sisters.
Not that there's anything wrong with family supporting you, but sometimes as a business owner or someone with a good idea or a creative idea, you kind of want to ask your family, like, do you really like it? Like, are you just being nice?
Right.
Exactly.
And because there is that sense of validation that comes when the outside world says, hey, this is cool. I want to use my hard-earned dollars to buy it.
Exactly.
But I love the meaning behind it. I'm a very sentimental person by nature. Anything that's connected to a story that moves me or something, that I'm connected to, I'm more likely to buy into it, right? Because you look down at your wrist every day. You look down at your fingers or in the mirror, and it can be that reminder that you need if it connects back to something that's, bigger or more meaningful for you. Okay, so there are 12 stones, I think, or at least on the paper in total. So we're going to learn more about them and Bijou with Sherri and Mary Linley coming up next. And go to supertalktv.com to see my guests who are joining me here on Good Things Today. I have Sherri and Mary Linley. Am I saying that correctly, Linley?
You are. Good job.
Of Bijou Designs. It's a French word meaning highly prized, elegant workmanship, which I think is exactly what they do for their jewelry. Came out of a tough season in Sherri's life, but like so many things, when you let God do it, good things can come out of it. And you guys specialize in gemstones that are mentioned in the Bible, and I see that we have 12 here. Now, we may not have time to go through all 12 of them, but let's go through a couple and like their most significant meanings to you guys' work, because I think anytime we can connect something back to what we may already have in our jewelry box, or if we're thinking about purchasing something in the future, to me, I think is a cool thing.
In Revelation, it's chapter 21, and it's verse 19 and 20. It lists in order the foundation stones of the New Jerusalem.
Wow, he just lays it out there.
He tells us.
It really does.
It says the first foundation was jasper, then sapphire, chalcedony, emerald, sardonyx, carnelian, chrysolite, which is actually a citrine, beryl, which is also aquamarine. The ninth is topaz, chrysoprase, jacinth, which is not available anymore, and then the 12th is amethyst. And so he was just, when he was given these instructions to John, it was just laid out in perfect order. And the streets of gold and the the gates that will be going are a single pearl. That's just amazing to me, just the thought of going through a gate that's just one big, huge pearl. So that's how, those are the primary stones that we work with, because those are the ones in, and then they're also duplicated. A lot of them are duplicated in the priestly breastplate.
So when we talk about sourcing these things, because now I'm like, oh, this is ancient times, this is whatever, but the other part that's cool to me is this reminds us and connects us that those that wrote the Bible lived in the same world that we live in today, and our natural resources or gems or things can still be uncovered. And while it may not be on the same continent or the same area or whatever, I mean, it connects us all back to, we're still in the same ship. We may not be in the same storm.
Exactly.
But we're all at least in the same ship that's Mother Earth. And that's really cool to sort of think about, too. So when you start to source these for your artwork and your jewelry, where do you even go?
There is a local gem store called Village Beads. And Ann and Jim Bankston own Village Beads. And they do an excellent job of sourcing their stones. They know exactly where it is, where it came from. They've been in business for 25 years, I believe. And so most everything comes from Village Beads. But if I can't get it from them, they are great at helping me find another source for a specific
Right.
stone.
And we've taken some fun trips to New Orleans, to bead shops down there, different places as we've traveled. But our main goal is to make sure everything is quality, it's real, and it's sourced in a way that doesn't harm it or harm people. So going through Village Beads has been fantastic for us because we know them, we know their standards. You don't want a clarity that isn't great, or something that someone tells you is sapphire and it's actually not, those types of things. So it's been fun to really source these out in person. We hardly ever order offline. We see it in person. We don't source from like overseas factories for anything. It's all has to be quality metals and gemstones.
So if they're watching over at SuperTalk TV, Sherri, they're looking at you and they're seeing that you're beautiful, but so is your gorgeous jewelry, and it's a moon pearl. Did I hear you say it's moon what?
These earrings are rainbow moonstone.
Rainbow moonstones. And so
Yes.
those are they're hard to find.
They're hard to find in this quality, and the way that these are made, they're a little hard to find. The iridescence, I know you can't see it on television, but the iridescence, when you turn rainbow moonstone a certain way, it has all the colors of a rainbow. And
Beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
So show us some of your other pieces, Mary Linley, if they are over there looking, and talk us through for those that are listening via supertalk.fm or maybe on their local Supertalk Mississippi radio station. Because when you say jewelry, you think, okay, earrings, bracelets, necklaces, but I mean, then it even gets more specific to the way that you guys choose to display your gems.
Exactly. So some of my favorites, one thing that I have found significant, a lot of the stones that we use, the birthstones that people use today, were based off these biblical charts. So I knew some like carnelian, peridot. So finding things like that, like I love, because my sister has a May birthday, emerald, because that's the birthstone for May. So getting to see real, like a raw emerald pendant and different little emeralds in different shades and colors, and learning things about that. Like this one will be on our website by the end of the week because it is a new one. But my favorites are the blue pieces, because I love blue and I love gold. Simple joy you can wear forever. So these ones are pearl and aquamarines.
Gorgeous.
They are some of my favorites. They're new and they are on our website, but I absolutely love the way the aquamarine is shaped. And aquamarine is also called beryl. So beryl is what you'll see in the priestly breastplate. So just knowing like I'm wearing that same stone, like I'm connected to that sort of power. And I've told Sherri 100 times, my favorite earring she has ever made, I made her make me a pair, are these kyanite and gold. I don't know if you can see them for there, but they look like a globe. They really do. They look like little globes, and they catch all kinds of light and colors, and they're kyanite. They're a real gemstone that you can wear. And you can match bracelets to them, because this is a lapis bracelet and it's also blue. So finding the significance behind them. I have a lapis bracelet. It's a little different than this one, but like I said earlier, it's the stones. Most scholars believe that that's the type of stone that the 10 Commandments were written on. So I wear it all the time in a little stack. I do have 2 lapis bracelets, and then she made me a 14-karat gold one to go in the middle. And just connecting myself to that power and just that same lifeline, realizing I can bring it all back together. That's some of my favorite things. And then we use some that aren't necessarily stones. This is a little mustard seed for if you have faith. If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move mountains. So little ones like that aren't necessarily stones but are referenced in Scripture, and we're just teaming with them. Is there a particular one?
I love the teamwork here. I mean, March is all about, I think, Women's History Month, and I think here looking at 2 ladies who didn't know that they were going to be entrepreneurs, who are in 2 different sort of generations of life.
Absolutely.
I mean, no disrespect.
No, it's not disrespect.
Not at all.
Who have come together, through the power of their faith and friendship to then, launch this business. So what's that journey been like?
I think it's been great. Everybody has ups and downs figuring out, different gaps, because I am in a different age range and different season of life. I spent the majority of our first 2 years of business in graduate school. So I was a full-time student and working, whereas Miss Sherri is medically retired, so she can give different times. So our schedules were different, and figuring out the different ways to come together. But it works so beautifully, honestly.
And communication is different between a 60-year-old. I turned 60 next week.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And
I'm 25.
I know you're 25, baby.
You are a baby.
I know. But that is absolutely learning communication styles. She is excellent at social media and those kinds, and I'm more make a list and scratch it off, and doing the physical work. But it's learning each other's styles that has been it's really been a blessing.
It really has.
But we all read the same Bible. The stones were written there for all the generations. And Spencer and Terry says, can you give out Bijou's website? Yes, we can. And the ways that you can connect you ladies, because I've loved this conversation. It's been a blessing. So where can we go to find you or maybe book you for a trunk show?
So it is bijoudesigns.net.
And that's BIJOU.
Yes, and then designs.net. And we are also on Facebook and Instagram. And then our email address is at the bottom of our website, so anybody can contact us if they want to book a trunk show. And if you book a trunk show, we always do a happy and a discount for the person who sponsors the show.
Well, this is a cool story for me. The stuff is beautiful. I hope you watched it over at SuperTalk TV. If not, you can catch it on YouTube later on today. But that's BIJOU or
Bijou Designs.
Designs.net. Or if you need trouble or you have trouble, just reach out to me. I'll get you connected to the ladies. But stick with us. We got
you.
more for you coming up next.